You saved a seat for someone who may never come back, not because you miss them. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. But because one sentence from them would make the whole story hurt less. The chair stays empty. The envelope stays sealed. Your phone keeps being a phone. No confession, no clean ending. And somehow you are the one still waiting. That is the strange part. The person who broke something gets to leave the room. The person holding the pieces gets stuck at the table. So you wait for the sentence. I was wrong. I hurt you. That really happened. You are not imagining it. It sounds small. 4 sentences, maybe less. But when someone refuses to say them, those sentences can become a whole house. Soon you start living inside the missing apology. Old texts become furniture. Little arguments go up on the walls. A drawer fills with perfect comebacks. And every night, your brain walks through the same rooms. It checks the chair. Still empty. It checks the envelope. Still sealed. Then it does something painfully reasonable. It tries to build the apology by itself. This is where the trap begins. Because the apology is not only an apology, it becomes a receipt. Proof that the pain had a price. Proof that you did not make it up. Proof that someone else saw the damage too. Without that receipt, your brain starts auditing you instead. Were you too sensitive? Did you remember it wrong? Did you ask for too much? Would a calmer person have moved on by now? The empty chair does not answer, so the questions get louder. That is why the apology can start to feel like oxygen. Not because the other person is wise. Not because they are safe. Sometimes they are the least safe person in the story. But because you accidentally gave them a job. You made them the witness. You made them the judge. You made them the person at the desk who stamps reality. And if they refuse to stamp it, your own reality starts to look unofficial. That is a brutal place to live. It is also very human. Your brain likes finished stories. It likes a beginning. It likes a reason. It likes a final page where the right person finally understands what they did. An unfinished story keeps touching the alarm, so the mind reopens the file. At lunch, in bed, in the shower, during a perfectly normal Tuesday, when a door closes a little too hard, the file opens. The chair appears. The old trial starts again. If they would just admit it, you could stop defending yourself. If they would just explain it, you could stop explaining yourself. If they would just care, maybe the part of you that still cares would not feel so alone. That is the loop. And the loop is expensive. It charges rent in sleep. It charges rent in attention. It charges rent in how quickly you trust your own reaction. 1 minute you are brushing your teeth. The next minute you are giving a closing argument to a person who is not even in the room. This is the detail that gets me. You can win the argument perfectly in your head. Every line lands. Every pause is devastating. The imaginary judge nods. And then you still have to wake up in the same body, because winning the imaginary trial is not the same as leaving the courtroom. At some point, healing starts with a smaller move. Not forgiveness, not peace, not a grand glowing release where you suddenly become above it all. Just moving the evidence. Take one blank notebook, put what happened on one side. Not the whole autobiography, just the facts your body keeps circling, the message they ignored, the promise they used. The day you realize the rules were different for them. Then put the story on the other side. The part where you try to guess why, the part where you imagine the apology, the part where you make yourself easier to blame, because blame feels like control. This notebook is not magic. It will not make the chair disappear. But it gives your pain a place to sit that is not your nervous system. It lets you say, this happened. Then it lets you say, this is what I kept adding to it. Both columns matter. One is evidence, one is weather, and for a long time, you may treat weather like evidence. Their silence means I was nothing. Their denial means I am dramatic. Their calm means I am the problem. Look closely. Those are not facts. Those are stories your brain wrote while it was trying to survive not being believed. You do not have to hate those stories. They were trying to keep you close to the door. If the door opened, everything could finally make sense. But a door can stay shut for reasons that have nothing to do with your worth. Some people do not apologize because they cannot bear the mirror. Some people do not apologize because the old version of the story benefits them. Some people do not apologize because saying sorry would require becoming someone they have not practiced being. And some people know exactly what they did. They just prefer the room where you keep doubting yourself. None of those reasons are a verdict on your pain. They are information about the chair. So here is the hard sentence. The apology may be deserved and still not be available. That line is awful. It does not feel noble. It feels like putting down a bag you wanted someone else to carry. You may still want them to get it. You may still want the scene. The knock at the door. A softened voice. One clear sentence. Finally, the part where they say, I see it now. Of course you want that. That scene is not just about pride. It is grief. You are grieving the version of the world where the person who hurt you also becomes the person who repairs it. Sometimes that world does not arrive. So the work becomes different, not smaller, different. First, stop asking the empty chair to become a witness. Let it become a chair. Then stop asking the sealed envelope to become a future. Let it become an unopened object on a table. And stop asking your phone to become a rescue rope. Let that phone become a rectangle with a battery. Then you ask a quieter question. What has this chair been controlling? Has it controlled your sleep? Write that down. Has it controlled your trust? Write that down. Has it controlled the way you shrink before asking for basic care? Write that down too. This is not a list for them. It is not evidence for a trial. It is a map back to your side of the room. Pick one thing on that map. One small thing. Maybe tonight you do not reread the thread. Maybe tomorrow you tell the story once without making yourself the villain. Maybe this week you stop drafting the message that would finally make them understand. Not because you are over it, because your life needs one corner that does not report to the empty chair. That corner will feel strange at first. Quiet can feel suspicious when you are used to waiting for impact. Relief can feel boring when your body has been trained by alarms. So do not measure healing by whether you feel peaceful right away. Measure it by what gets a little less controlled. One night with fewer rehearsed arguments. One morning where the phone stays face down. One conversation where you believe your own sentence before someone approves it. That is not dramatic. It is not the movie scene. But it is how the room changes. The chair gets smaller. The envelope gets lighter. The notebook stays open. And the warm light stops waiting for permission. The apology may never come. That can be true. It can be unfair. It can still ache. And it can stop being the lock on the door. You do not have to call the silence okay. You do not have to pretend the chair did not matter. You do not have to forgive on command, but you can stop arranging your life around the person who left the room. The chair may stay empty, the envelope may stay sealed, and still you can stand up first.